Hey everybody, Ian from Hyperspace Hobbies here. Let's talk about a top performing demon list that did really well in a 350 person tournament. Matthew Gayer from Team Zero Comp made a very awesome demon list. It's all about big, bad monsters. First, let's go over the list and then take a little bit of a deeper dive into each model and why they would perform so well when comboed with each other. The list is as follows: Bellacor, a Shalaxi Helbane, a Bloodthirster, 3 Lords of Change, 6 Flamers, and 2 squads of 3 Flamers. This is the epitome of a monster mash, and those Flamers add that extra little kick. Remember, all of these monsters are OC5, so there's actually a decent amount of board control that can happen here. This list is a very potent monster mash, with Bellacor providing strong buff auras, and a Bloodthirster and a Shalaxi Helbane to dominate combat, 3 Lords of Change for the shooting phase and a little bit of combat, and 3 separate squads of Flamers. I think the main thing to point out in this particular list is how effective Bellacor is when he's guarding other gigantic greater demons. Not only does Bellacor have a good shooting profile, his close combat is awesome, but that's not really the reason why you take him, in my opinion. You take him for this. Wreathed in Shadow provides a 6-inch aura, and every friendly demon model that is within that aura cannot be targeted by ranged attacks unless the attacker is within 18. Whoa! All of a sudden, that Shalaxi Helbane, that Bloodthirster, and all of your Lords of Change are completely covered. If your opponent is wild enough to get within 18 inches of Bellacor to get some shots off, they are for sure getting charged next turn. But the demons come with many different tricks, and some of the stratagems that I mentioned later really push this list over the top. Bellacor also comes with Pall of Despair, which is a 6-inch aura, forces battle shock tests on all units that are below starting strength. This means you don't have to be below half strength, you only have to have lost a single model, and he can cause a battle shock test. This combos off on his other ability, which allows him to have a 6-inch aura of chaos at all times. So if somebody does fail their battle shock test, they will take D3 mortal wounds. And their battle shock test is at a -1. He also has Shadow Lord, which allows your own units to reroll failed battle shock tests within an aura of 6, allowing that Shadow of Chaos to give them a +1 to the battle shocks and maybe healing them D3. The tactic here is to have Bellacor hide whatever units you don't want shot off the board on the first turn. It doesn't mean you push him to the front lines. It means you probably have to ask your opponent, how far does that move? Calculate where you put all of your models, and then start placing your stuff, which means the decisions you make in your movement phase are very important. The next big bad monster is the Shalaxi Helbane. The Shulaxi Helbane has an incredible profile and is probably one of the most durable greater demons you can put on the table because it has a 4-up invulnerable save, 20 wounds, and a feel no pain of 5. This comboed with its toughness 10 and movement of 14 means it is not only going to survive, it's probably going to make combat too. And a Shulaxi within the aura of Shadow of Chaos that Bellacor provides means you can give it some stratagems to advance and charge. Its other abilities, Monarch of the Hunt, is truly insane. You reroll charge ranges versus monsters, vehicles, and character units, and in combat you reroll hit, wound, and damage rolls against those monsters and characters. Let's take a brief second and look at the close combat profile of Shalaxi Helbane, and you start to see where this thing is just going to dominate. Remember, when you're looking at all these numbers, it doesn't seem like much, but when you're rerolling hits, wounds, and damage, it's truly incredible. It also has the Cloak of Constriction, which is at the start of the fight phase, you choose one enemy unit, and that enemy unit has -1 attack. This is perfect against those big modeled units, like a squad of 10 Terminators, but it pays off just the same against a couple really high damage throwing units. The Bloodthirster in this list would be a really good unit to deep strike around Bellacor's 6-inch aura. His toughness 11, 18 wounds, and a 4-up save is really quite strong, but it is of course his close combat where he really starts to make up his cost. Bloodthirster adds a fantastic forward pressure on this kind of a list, and if it ever gets in combat, it's for sure going to throttle its opponents. 3 Lords of Change provide some pretty powerful shooting, a bit of close combat, and really rounds out this type of a list. Their Bolt of Change can choose between 3 abilities: Ignores Cover, Lethal Hits, or Sustained Hits, D3. They also provide +1 strength to all ranged attacks performed by any other Tzeentch models, which means those flamers are shooting strength 5 instead of strength 4. The addition of 3 Lords of Change really saturate the field with high toughness, invulnerable save for big monsters. The flamers, along with assisting you in the shooting phase, have the fly keyword and move a decent amount so they can kind of scuttle around the battlefield and cover objectives for you. The big benefit to a list like this is a couple stratagems that really assist your list to be everywhere all at once. The Corrupt Real Space stratagem allows you to permanently claim an objective as your own unless your opponent steals it away from you, which is going to be a huge benefit to a list like this, where you're not running too many models and everything has to be where it needs to be for it to be truly all that effective. Warp Surge on things like Bellacor, who is constantly in the Shadow of Chaos, or the Shalaxi Helbane to give it an insane movement, really pushes this list into a frontline grinder. Denizens of the Warp can be used on your flamers or even on a big bad beast if what you need to do is steal an objective away from somebody, and all you have to do is get a part of the base onto that objective and every monster is OC5. Or you can use it to get the flamers into a really tight position to unleash bouts of flame. And the best stratagem that demons have is Realm of Chaos. At the end of your opponent's turn, you can pick up 1 unit or 2 units if they are within the Shadow of Chaos and immediately deep strike them in your turn. So Bellacor can do this all the time, and anybody who's within 6 inches of Bellacor can also do this all the time, which means he can be picked up and placed wherever he wants to be at any moment. This list puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, with Corrupt Real Space giving you the ability to just forget about an objective in your own deployment zone or in the midfield, and the speed of some of these big monsters. You can really close in on your opponent fast, giving them a very hard decision to make on the first turn. With the combo of using Corrupt Real Space and Realm of Chaos, you can bounce around to any objective on the battlefield and claim it as your own. This frees up your big bad monsters to push the front line and put big pressure on your opponent. I love seeing a great Monster Mash style demon list and have it actually work pretty well in 10th. I'm glad that you guys stuck around to the end of the video. Please check out these other channels. They're doing fantastic stuff and I'm sure will provide quite a bit of entertainment. Until next time, see you later guys.